Hello everybody, my name's Rhonda from Nelson Soapery. Today we are going to go live for our live chat every single Sunday at 11 a.m. We actually go live and that way we talk about a number of different things that are obviously super important and lots of questions that I get during the week. So today we're going to be talking about soaping and everything that entails. Hello Amanda, welcome lovely. So what we're going to be talking about today is many different things that lots and lots of people do ask me. I honestly get so many questions, mostly about soap, registration, selling, insurance, what else? There's lots of things on here. Melt and pour, we're going to be talking about a few different things as well. So anyway, like I said, let's have a talk about all of that and hopefully it helps. Hello, Michelle. Welcome, lovely. Welcome to the chat at 11 a.m. Melbourne time, of course. So hopefully all of this chat is going to help everyone. So today, without further ado, I'm going to kind of get into it because at the moment, I've had lots and lots of people asking me all about soap. You know, do you need to be registered? What's the rules with it? Do you need to do a course? There's just so many things involved. Oh, 40 degrees in Queensland. Wow. And for anyone in the US, in Australia, we're talking Celsius. So very, very hot. Queensland does get hot. And I used to actually live in, right up the, sort of north side of New South Wales. And it used to get to 47 degrees. So, yeah, really hot. Hi, Deb. Welcome, my love. Welcome to our Sunday chat. So as I was saying, we're going to be getting into all about more registration and things to do with soap. Yeah, thank goodness. Well, Christine, when I lived in New South Wales, the part that I lived, the air conditioners didn't work because it was so hot, so humid that, they just conk out. So, too hot. So for anyone living in any other country, just to let you know, Australia has really, we have kind of two different heats. We have a dry heat and then a humid heat. So if you're in Queensland and a lot of the tropic sides of the humidity is hugely high. You can't make bath bombs there. Really hard to make bath bombs, but it gets very, very hot in some parts of Australia as well. Hi, Jackie. Welcome, my love. Yeah, you get the dry heat, Christine. Yeah. Oh, hello, everybody. So, welcome. So, anyway, let's get started. So, now my main question that I've been asked this week in particular, I think by 4 different people, is all about registrations of soaps and how it works. So I'm going to give you a few websites to go to and a few things. I will link it down later. Hopefully, I remember because often I forget. So if you want to do soap making, you can make soap. You can definitely make it yourself. You don't need to register if you're just making it yourself. But the minute you start selling the product, then you need to actually register. So registration is broken up into parts. So basically, when you register for soap, it depends on how much money you're going to make to how much you would actually be paying. Oh, Michigan, it's cold, you poor loves. Hi, Kelsey. Yeah, no, we don't, where I am, Kelsey, we don't get snow at all, never. So yeah, no snow. And my children, my daughters are 14, 16, my younger ones, they've never seen snow. So, because it's just hot. Yes, you did catch my live, lovely, welcome. So now we're talking about registration, and this is in Australia, but I'm going to tell you in Australia, it's very similar to a lot of other countries in the way of soap and registration and so on. So even if you're from another country, you can still get something out of what I'm saying for soap, because most countries do have their own independent bodies that look after soap making and chemicals, because obviously they are in there. Hello, Paula. And, look, I've had lots of people in the past say to me, I want to make soap with no sodium hydroxide. Well, that's not going to happen. So, 8 inches of snow, Kelsey. Well, you can go skiing in that, I'm sure. So when we're actually talking about registration, so in Australia, basically there's a few different ones you can go to, but it's called the industrialchemicals.gov.au. If you're in Australia, even if you're in another country, go on that, everybody, and have a look, because it will give you ideas and understanding, because they talk about the process and how it works and so on, which I think is really important. But so you can go onto there. So if you're going to sell your soap, to give you a rough idea, I've got a breakdown here. So it will cost you $75 a year. Remember, it starts from the June. So even if you go and pay in January, you still have to pay again in June. So it's a June to June, or June to July, I should say, like obviously a whole year. And it works out, if you're going to sell $49,000, up to $49,000, it will cost you $75 a year. So it's pretty cheap. It doesn't cost much at all. And then also, if you're going to, say you're going to sell 50K to roughly 74K, cost you $150 a year. And if you're going to sell up to $99,000 a year, $175. So it's pretty cheap. And basically, if somebody ever complains and you're not registered, then you've got a problem. So, definitely you must do that, and you will be fined if you're not registered. So I definitely suggest that you look into that. And it's really easy. Honestly, it's not hard. They're so nice. If you don't understand, give them a call and they'll walk you through it. Hi, Trish. Good morning, lovely. So, yeah, so they will definitely walk you through that process, because that's what happened with me. I rang them. They were so nice and so helpful. And he said, and I said, look, I've tried to pay and I can't do it. And he said, don't worry, I'll walk you through it. And he helped me and I paid that way. So, don't stress if you're a bit worried about it. It's nothing. And then basically at the end of the year, they'll just ask you how much have you sold and so on. And you just got to keep a record. Which you would do anyway. Even if you've got a Shopify account, you usually would do that anyway. Oh, you're confused. What do you have to register, Amanda? So in Australia, when you're making soap here, you need to register with a chemical body. So basically, it's just a department that registers who is making soap, who is selling soap. So if somebody ever came back and had a problem with your soap or it hurt them, then basically what they do is they go back to that particular company, it's the Australian government, and they would go there and they would say, this is the problem. They would look your name up and contact you and say, hey, what's happening here? And they might even investigate. So that's basically in Australia how it works. It's a part of their, chemical body. So obviously I can't give out legal information. I'm not a lawyer. A bit of a disclaimer here. So that's why I'm giving you the website to go to, because it wouldn't be right of me to give out information other than go and look at the website yourself. So, and the figures I gave you are from their website. So, so in Australia, like I said, we have to register if you want to make soap and sell it. That's the way it is too. And then there's lots of helpful tips I'll give you in regards to labeling and so on. So like I said, if you want to go and have a look at that, just go on there. It's called industrialchemicals.gov.au. And then that's if you're in Australia, like I said. So it's only if you're selling it. But if you're making something such as melt and pour, you don't need to register because there's no chemical involved. And the reason you've got to register your soap is if you're using sodium hydroxide, which is what we use for soap. But do remember, if you've got a product like, a base that you're using, or a melt and pour base, something like that, you don't need to, because you haven't personally touched the chemical. Somebody else has as well. Yeah, first thing you did, Christine. Yeah, but a lot of people don't understand. Or when I started, I didn't know you needed to. I never sold soap anyway before. I just used to make it for myself, when I was practicing. But once you look into it, there are a few things you got to do. And it's really important that you do just look into it and, understand what you need to do, because it's really not that hard once you understand the basis. And pretty much in Australia, you register, you just keep, as they said to me, even an exercise book, write in it, your recipe, what you're using, and a batch number for each soap. That's it. And then you just need to know. And so most of you will probably know when you see my tours in here, when I have my soap, I have little pink tags hanging down, paper tags, and that will just say the batch number, when I've made it, and when it's ready to go. So, you know, that's all you need to do. It doesn't need to be exciting. You don't need to be an IT guru. Just do something like that is really simple, but you can, so if you ever had a problem, you could follow that back. And that's really what they want you to be able to, you know, say, hey, this is what we're going to do. So for me, even though it says if you sell it to me, if you are going to give that away, 100% you should. This is my advice. Take it as you will, but I 100% suggest that you definitely should register, even giving it away, because you'll be amazed giving it away. People have been sued from someone giving that away. So, yeah, I would definitely register for that. So anyway, so that's what you have to do. And as I said, Melt and Pour, you do not need to pay. You do not need to register, you know, because it is already a base that has been pre-made from somebody other than you. And that person that has made it would need to do their legals on that side. But obviously, if you're making Melt and Pour, you still need to put labels on it. So you could even copy all of the little title that they have on it as well. Yes, you do need insurance, Bronwyn. And this is the thing, Bronwyn, like, you know, on these sites, they don't tell you. Yeah, well, that's right, Amanda. In Australia, you do need to have insurance to sell at a market. You need to have indemnity and so on. And you need to prove that as well. Well, I've had to prove it with the markets I've done, but I have had other people say they've never had to do it. But, you know, insurance just covers you. So, you know, the thing is, somebody could try and sue you. If you're not insured, you could lose everything. Yes, you did catch me on a live, lovely. Welcome. So the one thing that I always say is insurance is not that expensive. It really isn't. It can be as little as $30 a month, and it's probably like a couple coffees, isn't it? I mean, you know, it's the price of a couple coffees, and we all go out and have a coffee once or twice a week. So, you know, that's the thing. You do have to pay for it. And this is the thing that I say in cash flow and a business. You need to remember there's things you need to pay for. You need to pay for your website, insurance, registering, soap if you're going to be a soap maker as well. And of course, you know, postage, what it costs to package everything up and so on. So that's the thing. There are a lot of costs involved, and I'll kind of go through that a bit today. So I'm going to kind of answer a few questions that have been asked during the week. So we've got over the soap. So that is the main thing for the soap. And like I said, just keep everything written down. And for any of you that are Patreons, you would have seen this week on Patreon, I actually created a document where you can keep your recipe and everything in. So that is a great one. So you could even write your batch number in that one and keep everything, whether it's soap or anything else, because that is, you know, for anything, you can just literally write everything in that document and you have it. So if ever you get audited or if ever they ask, hey, where is your recipe? What did you do in this soap? You can actually show, hey, this is what I did. And you've got it all there in a binder or something. So just keep it in a folder or something. Or of course you can have it electronic. But remember, if it's on a computer, yes, you did. But remember, if it is on a computer, it is super duper important that you back it up, because, you know, what happens if your computer dies and you've got a problem? So do back it up if it's on a computer. Yeah, well, that's right, Christine. And she was just saying it cost her about $1,000 with insurance and supplies and a few things to start up. And honestly, you know, look, I've heard people say you can start a business for $50. Well, you can't. I mean, you can start the basis of it. You know, like I always say, I started with $22, but that was just a practice to see if I liked it. But, you know, obviously I didn't sell it or anything, so I didn't have insurance with the very first thing I did. It was little hobby. Oh, that's okay, Marie. Anytime, lovely. So the thing that, you know, I always say with starting a business is, look, you know, I mean, my dad and I used to say this and have a bit of a laugh. You know, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's really not. You know, and you need to be so passionate, so dedicated to succeed, because there's many things that come up that you think, oh no, what do you do? And if you're like me and you're an average person, you're not a super wealthy person, you know, I don't have a credit card or anywhere to get extra money if something went wrong. So you do need to learn to have your cash flow behind you and do things you know, and you know what? Look, I'm going to say this. When I first started this, I never ever. Oh, hi, Izzy. How you going? Lozzie, hi, darling. You know, the funny thing is when I started this, I never thought I would have a Patreon. I didn't think I'd have YouTube. I didn't think I'd have many people following me on Instagram. And I definitely didn't think I would have an Australian soaping and candle conference that I'm the CEO of. Like, I never thought I would have any of those things. And this is what I say to people. Never say never, because you just don't know. Oh, I'm going to talk about that Bronwyn with the labeling in just a minute. That's on my list too to tell you, and I'll give you a website as well. So that's what I'm going to say, everybody. You never know where it's going to take you, so be insured. Try and just get all your paperwork up to date. You know, you're probably like me and hate it. I hate paperwork, but it's got to be done. So, you know, if you're falling behind, don't worry. Just make a date and say, look, that's it. I've got to do it. I've got to be up to date, because we all hate it as well. Oh, Amanda, yeah, $8,000. And I totally agree with that, Amanda, too. It depends how big or small you want to be. I mean, look, this is going to give me the shakes actually saying this, but I think I've spent over $20,000 easily, without a doubt, easily in my little studio here. I spent a lot of money, but I didn't buy it all at once. I slowly bought it and I changed it and back and forward. So, you know, like once I made some money, I invested it back in, and I've never taken a wage, never. And that's the thing. Most successful business people will tell you they didn't take a wage for years. And that's just the way it is. Well, that's right. You never know what's going to happen, everybody. So, you know, and, you know, nobody got wealthy or financially free by sitting at home waiting. So, you know, it's a personal decision, and it's definitely a decision whether you want to do a market on the weekend and get extra money, or whether you wanted a full job. That's just the way it is. Yeah, that's right, Amanda. And she was saying she had to throw things away before. And Amanda, that's why when I started really small. I didn't go and buy everything, because what happens is people, especially if people have more money, they go and buy heaps of things in bulk, but they forget, well, they're probably not going to sell it because they don't have the clients yet. So at the start, I would say buy it small. Do not buy bulk if you don't have clients, you're not doing a market, and you're just starting. Buy very small. So please buy small and don't spend too much money. But anyway, so we've done that bit. So now I'm going to go down my list as well. Oh, hi, lovely. Welcome. I'm glad that your my information is helpful too. I've had a few people ask, do they need to do a soap making course? No, you don't. There are courses everywhere that you can do. I don't recommend anybody, because I just think, have a look, just, you know, Google it. Because I'm not affiliated with anybody that does courses as well. So, but do have, you know, just have a bit of a look around and see what you think about courses or anything like that. I don't do courses. I've had a few people ask me, and no, I don't. But on my Patreon, I am going to be doing one live workshop a month, and that will be the 1st or 2nd, something like that, of each month. So you need to be obviously a Patreon to see that, because that will only be shared on Patreon. It will be directly to them. And then that will be a workshop, and, you know, it will change each week. So I think the first one we're going to be doing some bubble bars. Well, I call them slap bubble bars. So they're not like neat. They're kind of like slapped colours and so on. So that's what we'll be doing on the first week. So if you're not a Patreon, all the links are in YouTube. Just click on and you can join over there. For $10 or $20 is when you will actually get that as well. Oh, you learned making soap watching me, Christine. Thank you. You know, and that's how I learned making soap. I watched YouTubers, you know. I watched like Alan Ruth, and, you know, of course, Royalty Soaps, you know, everybody knows them. I mean, there's so many people I watch. Tiggy, I mean, the name, it's endless. Oh, thanks, Marie. You're a love. That's the thing. So you don't need to pay for a class, everybody. You know, YouTube, you can watch that. But just remember to always put a recipe back through Soap Calc. Do not depend on somebody, because people like me, you know, we're always busy. We could have made a mistake. So always put it back through soap calc, 100%. And you can't believe everything you see as well. So, you know, I mean, I try and be as honest and transparent as I can be. The recipe I give you is the recipe I use. I don't change it to sell or anything. So you can use that. But like I said, you know, always do your own research as well. That's super important, because if something ever went wrong, you can't say, well, I followed a YouTuber, because people will say, what? I mean, yes, of course, follow us, and we are educating you, but at the same time, you do need to do your own due diligence, of course. Yeah, thanks, Amanda. And, you know, Amanda, I've had lots of people say to me in the past, oh, well, you know, someone on Facebook said this. Well, you know, honestly, it gives me a bit of a laugh when someone says that. Please do not follow advice from Facebook groups. I mean, yes, sometimes they are giving nice advice and they're trying to help, but they don't know all the legals. They might not be a business. They might be a hobbyist. They might be really good at their craft, but you can't take that as legal advice. You just can't. Yeah, the University of YouTube. But yeah, so please don't take all of this as legal advice. You need to do your own due diligence. So even me, I watched heaps and heaps of YouTubers. There's many that I love. Yeah, yeah, I do give away lots of my secrets as well. But as I always say, you know, I would hate for me to have made a little mistake and then you followed that and something's gone wrong. So always do your own due diligence, you know, and test it for yourself. And you always must test a soap recipe before you start selling it. So when I make it, I always test it. So, you know, like, even though, because you're going to wait I wait 6 weeks for mine to go out. But before it goes out, I always test. So I cut a slither off every single bar and I just test it, make sure it's not burning my hands or anything like that. It's not lye heavy. I know it's good to go. So that's my suggestion. Definitely do that. So what we're going to talk about now, like I said, is we've talked about all the main bit of that, haven't we? And now let's talk a little bit about labels. Yeah, that's right, Kelsey. There's a number of groups. She was talking about Facebook groups. I've left a number of them that I've had people say, well, what would you know? You're just on YouTube. And I mean, maybe they're right, you know, but the thing is, you know, when you're actually trying to be nice and help people, it's actually a bit, you know, insulting when you're trying to help. So a lot of them I just get out of. The only main one you'll see me on is Sud Off, because I know Dawn, who owns Sud Off, and she's so lovely and she would never put up with bullying on her website. So that's why I like that one. And you know what? Some people might have been soaping for 20 years and they think they know everything, but they don't. You're always learning. I'm always learning. I definitely don't know everything. So that's the thing. We're always learning. Things always changing. You better your recipe. You just better the way you do things. So always remember. Hello, Sabrina. Welcome, lovely. Welcome to our Sunday chat. So now we're going to talk about labeling. So everybody that's in Australia, and even if you're not in Australia, still look on this website. It's a great website to give you some idea. So it's a part of the business, because Australia has a lot of business websites that are free. They're all free. So it's called labeling, and then it's got like a hyphen business.gov.au. So you can go on that and it will tell you about the labeling. And I've talked about this before. When you have a product, your labeling must, the you know, volume and stuff must be in the middle. You can't have it to the side. You can't have it on a background that you can't see very well. It needs to be quite clear. So that's something that is super important as well. Are you having problems with wax melts? It may be the wax you're using, lovely. A lot of people have wax that that melts that are not working. And I know, because when I started, I thought, oh, you can just use your normal wax. You can't. You need to use a tart wax. If you want that glossy kind of melting kind of look on your melts. And mine, let me grab one and I'll show you. So these are my melts. This is what mine look like. They come in a little box. And this is a candy melt, which is very common for everyone. And then if you can see that, mine have a glossy kind of look. Hopefully you can kind of see. And then this is, you know, the Blooming Rose one. And the reason that I use a Tarte Wax, which is, it's from the family of the 464 Tarte Wax. I can't remember the name. It's not 464, but it's from the same family. I think actually in the US, Candle Science sell it, because the company I get it from, which is Aussie Candles, they import it from, I think, Candle Science or something. So anyway, but that's what I suggest for that. Oh, it's too soft, Amanda. That's right. Because, well, the one you must be using is soft. This Tarte Wax is hard. It's really hard. Honestly, I could drop this on the bench. It would not break. So it's really hard. And in Australia, because it's so hot, we need to be really careful having something hot as well. Yeah, I know there's a few people talking about wax. And if you're in Australia, I know Pure Candle Supplies are bringing in pillar waxes and so on. So, but they can't get it at the moment. I think that's on a list, so wait for their truck to come in or you can contact them. But I definitely suggest a Tarte Wax. I do all mine with the Tarte Wax. It's a soy tart and it's hard. But that's the thing. You've got to try lots of them. Oh, that's okay, Jennifer. Anytime, love. But yeah, I know what you mean, because I've tried many, many ones. And then actually the good thing about this one, I'll find out the name and I'll put it in the link for you. I can't remember, but it's in a bag under the bench somewhere. But I will find out the name and then let you know, because I know you can get it in all countries, the one I use. It's pretty standard. But anyway, and it gives it a gloss look, but it's all natural. There's no paraffin or anything, because I don't use paraffins. So anyway, hopefully that one helps. And it's important to make sure the temperature's right and not overheating the wax. Otherwise, it can go softer as well in time. But these ones are made a few months ago and they're good. So, yeah, don't worry. And they get sent to clients that are in their 40s. And, you know, the 40 plus degrees Celsius here, and they don't melt. I've never had a complaint of melting. So, yeah, look at that and have a look at it. Now, another question. We talked about this last week, so I'll touch on it just a few seconds. Do I need social media? 100% yes, you do. You cannot do this business without social media. You will not make it. And I know that sounds a bit harsh, but I want to be really honest. If you can't do social media, you need to learn. And I didn't know how to do it. I just taught myself. So do teach yourself. Please, everybody, teach yourself. And actually, one thing, you know, this is important for many of you that are businesses or trying to get your business off the ground. I've actually learnt this not so long ago. You know, when you have a Google review, obviously getting Google reviews on your business puts you higher ranked. But what you actually need to think about as well, even if you're watching, say, a YouTuber, and I've done it myself, you know, you can actually go to Google, you can actually search their name. I'll answer that question in just a second, Amanda. So if you go onto Google, you know, what you can actually do is you can give a review even on a YouTuber. So, you know, people can go onto, for instance, look for my company, which is Nelson Soapery or Nelson Interior Soapery. And they can look for that and you can give me a Google review saying, you know, I learned so much, you taught me on YouTube or whatever. So it doesn't have to be buying a product. So you could ask people that have tested your product, do you mind giving me a review on Google? You know, because then you got your Google business. So you just ask them, can you do that? And you will slowly get higher ranked. So that is super important. Yeah, so that is the one thing that, you know, I really suggest that you do is definitely do that. And, you know, this is the way the business goes around. And the more you help other people, they want to help you too. So that's the thing I always say. Don't be selfish and greedy. If you help people, they'll help you back as well. So if anyone wants to give me a Google review, please go ahead and just search me on my Google business and then you'll be able to give me a review on that. And just a little thing too, don't ever try and get fake ones. I've never put a fake one, and you should never put a fake review on Google, because eventually you can be found out and it just won't go well. So it can be family giving you one too, but you know, you need to ask them, please be honest. You know, ask them to be honest when they're giving a review, because bad feedback is also good, even though we don't like it. It lets you know, okay, I've got to better that next time. Even though you'll sulk about it for a few weeks, it is important. But anyway, that was something on social media I wanted to let you know. And of course, people say, do I need a website? Yes, you do. I mean, before you even do anything, you need a website and you need, social media. You must. If you don't have a website, you need to at least have Etsy or something like that so that you can direct people back to your little store within Etsy or within eBay or wherever you're selling. But you 100% need a platform to somebody to go back and review you and give you stars or review your products. So when I send my products out, I always say, look, if you love the product or, you love the service, please give us a review. And a part of reviews is also, as I said, about your business. So for me, a part of my business is teaching, obviously. So that's important too. Oh, Amanda is just saying you can't smell anything with your warmer, your electric warmer. Well, you should be able to if you're using the right fragrance to make the melts. Amanda, the one thing that I did do, I actually go back and have a look at one of the, I did actually do like a melting video. And in it, I'm pretty sure I talk about that, what the latest one that I did. I talk about the fragrances and how they're all not equal. So some of the ones I use have higher content in essential oils and they smell very strong. But I did buy one that was a tropical one and I couldn't even smell it in anything. So I ended up just selling that stuff off like next to nothing. But generally all the ones I use are what I call a luxe level. So for instance, you can get a 500 ml bottle for $17, but the ones I buy are $65. So that's what I mean. They're much, much more expensive, but the fragrance load is better, it's stronger, and that's what brings people back. They're not going to come back if they can't smell it. And I have been told that my candles are very strong. So, and I only work on a 9% load on normal candles, the same as, the melts. I mean, that's the thing I've heard people say, put 15% in melts. Well, you can't because they can't take it. Yeah, the warmer does need to be, when I actually melt my wax down, Amanda, I actually use a slow cooker. So, and I just melt the wax in a slow cooker and then I add the fragrance and so on. So that's how I actually do mine. It needs to melt it to the point of what the wax says. So if the wax says 70 degrees, you must do it to 70 degrees. Because it cannot so the fragrance can't attach itself to the molecules of the wax unless it's at the right temperature. That's why temperatures are paramount in candles. So while we're talking on candles, everybody, I will touch on something that was asked this week of, do I think the market is saturated with candles? And yes, I don't know about that one, Amanda, because I don't do 15% in mine. I mean, some waxes I know do take it, but generally in Australia, most of them 10's the maximum. But I only use 9 because it ends up being too expensive otherwise. And you can't make any money. But yeah, I don't think the market is saturated with candles. But if you're doing markets, many markets will not take any more candle makers because they just have too many. So that's the thing, I started with soap and then I had soap and candles, but most markets will only let you do one or the other. A lovely lady, Carly, that follows me has had that issue. And I know that is very, very common with a lot of people not being allowed to sell 2 things. They can only sell 1, which is hard in our business because as most of us know, we do candles and we do soap and we do bath body sort of products. So that makes it a little tricky. Trying to do all of that. So yeah, so that just makes it so hard. But I don't think it's saturated, but you need a candle that's different. There's no good doing a basic one. Oh, you're missing all the soap and you're trying to, get a studio. Well, this little studio, everybody, is not that big. It's like 6 meters by 5.6 or something like that. So that's the studio I work out of. The next house I buy, I think we will probably end up getting like a big shed or something and then convert that into a warehouse. But At the moment, this is what I work in, and it's fine for me. And I do a lot of orders in and out of here, even wholesale. So if you really want to make it work, you'll make it work. Doesn't matter about the space. I think the thing is you just have to learn to use every inch. And as you can see, my shelves here go to the roof. So, yeah, you just have to use all of your space as well. People have asked me, where do you get your stickers and labels? I buy mine from Stanley Packaging. I know there's labels online and many other things, but I print all of mine in conjunction with Canva and a Cricut machine. So that's what, or Cricut, they keep telling me it's Cricut. But that's what I actually do with mine. So, because look, I have ordered them from Vistaprint and other ones, and they were really good quality, but I don't. Oh, house and shed. Yeah, I had a warehouse, lovely. And honestly, we just kept being locked out, but it's not worth it. I don't want to pay for it. I don't do dust covers. I always do lids. So, yeah, like you can actually do, on a Cricut, you can actually cut them yourself. You can make dust covers on there. But I've just not done it. I did think about doing it, but, like I'll show you. So, like, these are what mine actually look like. So that's just my label, which I make myself. And then on the bottom here, we'll have the extra bit it needs. And then that's what mine look like inside. So you need to always have a candle that's a little different. And that's why I sell mine, and I charge $39 for these. I used to charge $35, but with the prices going up, I had to make it go to $39. Amanda, you can use mica in the, you can use it anywhere as well. So, you can use the mica in with your, not in a candle, but you can, you can actually use the mica in the melts. I love it. Thank you. Yeah, and all of mine have that little kind of thing in it. They all have a different top in it. So that's a birthday one, so it has that in it. And let me show you, like, they're all just a little bit different, and this is like a cashmere silk, so that's why that has something different. So they're all different, and that's why people seem to like them. And then this is another one. This is like called Sweet Baby, and see, it has little baby booties inside it. So all of mine are a little bit different. So if you want to make it on the candle market, there's no good just doing a white one, because there's plenty of people doing that, let's be honest. Unless your label is super really good, because that can sell it, your label as well, your jars can sell it, and try and keeping it consistent. So, but, if you're wanting to do candle making as a profession, that's what I suggest, and do wholesale, because stores will want it. But you need to practice a lot on the wax, because some waxes aren't great. But the wax I use is a coconut soy. Oh, do I do the embeds? Yeah, I do the embeds with my normal wax. You just have to be really gentle. Yeah, you have to be very, very gentle getting it out. That's taken me a long time to learn how to do it. So I just use little silicone molds, like I'll show you. So this one here is the booties here. It's like a little tiny silicone mold. And they're the ones I use. So you just buy them from a cake store. And you can see it's very, very flexible. You can't have one that's hard. If it's hard, it will not come out. So you've got to be really gentle getting that out of there. So we've talked about, do you need a website? 100% yes, you do need one as well. How do you tell a good scent? I always say, don't go for the cheapest one. Not a good idea. You need to test everything. I know you don't want to hear that. But test it even in a tiny jar. Just test it to start with to see if you like it. And as I said, I go for the more luxury blends. I get mine now from Pure Candle Supplies. Oh, hi, Lisa. Welcome, lovely. Welcome. Morning there. Yeah, so it's, what is it now? Probably 11:40 or something now here, because we've been talking for a little bit. But anyone can watch this back as well. And another thing people have said, can I do this as a single parent? Is this a kind of a good job? Look, it's not going to pay your wage or your rent. I'm going to be honest. It's not going to be paying everything, but, in time, maybe. But the one thing that I always say is, if you're depending on an income and you're the only, parent or adult in the house that needs to pay, you really need to keep your job. Don't give up your job. You need to do this on the side until you feel that it is okay. Like my daughter did a couple jobs, and then she's got an earring company on the side, and now she doesn't. Now she just does earrings because she's able to only do that as well now. So, yeah. So basically that's pretty much the way it is, here. So I just definitely suggest that, you keep your job. Don't give that up until you're, you know that your business is really ready to be able to pay you a wage and so on. So that's the one thing that I do say. And a lot of people say, how much work do I need to do? I'm going to be honest here. Some days I work 15, 16 hours a day. Owning your own business is a hard gig because you have every hat on, like you're the tax man, aren't you? I mean, you're the creator, you're the designer, yeah, what don't you do? I mean, you do everything from boxing it, selling it, making it, labels, like I said, your tax, everything involved. No, vanillin doesn't turn, it doesn't turn the wax brown. Well, mine, it doesn't anyway, the one I use. And I use one called Very Vanilla, and it definitely doesn't turn it brown. It keeps it white. So, but it depends on your wax. Some waxes are browner than others. The one I use from Pure Candle Supplies is really white. It's very, very white. As I showed you in, like this one here, it's called coconut soy, and that is the color. So it is very white. So yeah, it's quite white. But I have used ones that were more browny, so you just have to be a bit careful with that one as well. And look, the thing is too with social media, when we're talking about that, everyone, make sure you're posting at least twice a week. And you've got the reels too. I mean, you can even string a whole heap of images together on a reel, so don't worry. Well, that's right, Kelsey, yeah. So if you're making soap, vanilla definitely does react to make it brown. Kelsey's right. That definitely happens. Eco Soys. I'm not sure about Eco Soya because, like I said, I use coconut soy from Pure Candle Supplies that has no paraffins or anything. But everybody, I've got to show you something. Let me grab it. So Pure Candle Supplies have this. They gave me a little sample of this little flowery stuff. And what it actually is, you put a tiny little bit, I think it's like 0.1%, in your candles, and it stops them going yellow. Because you make a white candle and you don't sell it straight away, sometimes it will go yellow. So there are like additives like this that you can add in. I think I used it once. I've tried it once. But, look into that because I didn't know when I first started about all the different additives. And I do actually, let me grab this too. So I had some people asking this week about liquid dye. So this is the liquid one I use. I know it's a bit messy, isn't it? From Aussie Candles is what I've got this one from. And it's called a concentrated liquid dye. So if you want to use liquids, you can use those. Or I do also use the powdered ones that are really strong. And they are actually from Sud Off in Australia as well. That's okay, Brenna. No worries, my love. No worries. You can watch it back. So, yeah. So if you're doing candles, there's many of options. You've got the blocks. You've got chips that you can add in. You've got the liquid dyes. You've also got the powders. So there's so many things. So you have to test it and see what is right for you and your wax. But as I said, have a look, see what you can do differently with your candles. Because when I did basic candles, I didn't sell them. So really, important to think about. But as I said, if anyone wants to give me a Google review, make sure you go over there and just, search my business, which is Nelson Soapery or Nelson Interior Soapery, because sometimes I go off both of them because I started with the interior in the middle. Because by trade, I studied interior design. So that's why I had that in the middle of that. But anyway, hopefully today has been a super, super helpful tip. And remember all my Patreons on the first week, which is next week, I think, we are going to be doing like a it's called like a slap colourful bubble bar. So I'm going to teach you how to do that and make that, and that will be super fun. So once a month we're going to be doing a workshop. So that's for the $10 and $20 Patreons. So, and it will be a live one, so you'll get the link just before, and then we'll actually go onto it and you'll be able to watch me do that and ask questions as well. I'll have my daughter helping me, and that will always be on a Saturday at 11 a.m. once a month. And for those of you that don't know, if you actually go onto my website and subscribe as an email on the email list, once a month I send out a gift packet as well. So somebody will get a gift box, and that will just be of goodies for free. I just choose somebody randomly and they get it. So, and you'll see that on Instagram every now and then. So if you haven't signed up, make sure you sign up and do all that. But I will see everybody on the next video. Bye, everyone.